It's Ursula from ursula-smith.com, and today I'm back with Yupo paper cutouts. This time I've stacked them together, two, and glued them, and I'm going to be using them in the Sizzix BigShot as embossing tools. And I'm going to be using, instead of just regular cardstock, I'm going to be using Gelli prints that I've made with my Gelli Arts printing plate that are kind of just like me, you know. They would otherwise probably be throwaways, but a lot of times I use these as backgrounds for cards or other projects. But especially ones with lights and darks, when you emboss, and then I'll show you how I finish them off later, they look really nice. So I may end up using that one. I have that one, which was a epic fail. It was actually another Yupo paper cutout and just way too much paint and blech. So I may end up using that one. Here's another one that just same thing. I was actually trying to do, it actually came out really nice. Just as an aside, I use these things, they're like corn stalks, and use those on my Gelli plate and got like scritchy scratches. So here's what I was trying to do with this one. So see how there's like lots of scratches, and then I sprayed over it with ink to get that red. Tried to do that with the same thing, but the paint wasn't dry, and then when I went to rub off the ink, it smeared and just kind of is just a big blob. Bleh. So anyway, this is like a toss away, but a lot of times these are the things that I use either for backgrounds or for running through my embossing tool. And so one of these will become my next project. So thanks for joining me today, and here it comes. So I'm back, and unfortunately the way my filming setup is, you can only see part of the machine, but this is my BigShot. You can't see me rolling the handle, but I wanted to show you, it comes with this platform with a bunch of tabs that you can use some, none, or all of. In this case, because of my setup, I'm going to use none of the tabs. So I'm going to thread the tabs through to the other side because I'm not going to need those. And then just this Christmas, I was able to find this setup. In the past, all I've used was, I just had ordered the embossing rubber separately. I don't know whether they didn't have this set. So it comes with a plate that's specifically made for embossing. It's a little bit softer, makes a little bit better of an impression. And so I don't know whether they didn't have it before or I just didn't buy it, but in any event, now they have it and it comes as a set. So I'm going to put that on top of just the plain base. So there's no folders. I put the embossing plate down. I put the rubber down. And then in this case, I cut my cardstock. Remember, these are Gelli plate throwaways. I'm going to put this face down. Sometimes you got to play around with it depending on your design and what you're using to emboss with, whether the good side should be up or down. But in my case, I have found that generally I want it face down. And then if you like, you can spritz it with a little bit of water. Sometimes that helps it emboss a little bit better. A lot of times I just don't, but you can if you like. And then you put the, remember, these are Yupo paper cutouts, 2 of them that I've glued together. Put that basically wherever you would like. And then sometimes I have found that I need a shim. I'm just using pieces of paper this one I've been literally using for years. It was like another toss away. Sometimes I put it over the project, sometimes I put it on top of the cutting plate. So this is the normal cutting embossing plate that goes on top. So the shims don't matter. You can put it either underneath or on top. It doesn't really matter. And then you're going to roll the whole thing through. And you want it where it's a little bit difficult to roll, not where it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm going to break it, but you basically kind of want to feel where those pieces of Yupo paper, your embossing tool is, and then I generally roll it back through. And then, if you can see, the design has embossed. Now, a lot of times what I do is, if it will, especially if I've sprayed a little bit of water, the Yupo paper cutout will stay there, and I leave it there for the next step. Actually, if I had been paying attention to my project and not my filming, I would have done it down here, so I could have saved these cool little spots. I'm trying to decide if that will look weird if I do another one. Yeah, probably. It'll look kind of weird. But anyway, I'm going to go grab my next step in the project, and I will be back. So I'm back, and as you can see, especially with busy paper, it's kind of hard to see that embossed design. So a lot of times I try to make it stand out by using an ink over it. And I found these Brilliance, they're pigment ink, but they dry quicker than a lot of the other pigment inks. And so I'm usually in a rush, and so I like these a little bit better. They're not quite as good coverage as some of the other inks, pigment inks, but I think they're fine for this case. And so all I do is basically rub it over the embossed design, and again, keeping that Yupo paper in there gives it a little bit of strength. And so you can really kind of feel where the design is. And in this case, I'm using gold. I probably would have used silver, except my silver is really dry right now, and the re-inkers are back ordered. So I'm going with gold. But that lets that design really pop off the background page. And then once you're done with that, you can just peel the Yupo paper off the back. So hope you like that project. I just wanted to mention one more thing. So here's my leftover piece. I save these because lots of times, especially when I'm in the middle of making like a gazillion Christmas cards, pieces of paper like this work great for punching, you know, small flowers, snowflakes, so then you can start layering your design, and again, just kind of brings it up a notch. So anyway, thanks for joining me. Hope you like that idea. We'll see you next time. Hi, I'm back, and I wanted to show you, this was another background. It's super busy, and I then used kind of a busy embossing tool. So I just wanted to kind of show you that sometimes the super busy backgrounds don't work as well if you've got like a lot of pattern going on with your embossing folder or plate. So sometimes taking the ink to it can help. In this case, I'm going to try silver. Actually, you know what? I don't want to really get that ink all over my plate, so let's take a paper towel. And then I still have the embossing cutout attached to the paper, just as I did in the previous one. And so same thing, this one I'm using Encore. My silver in Brilliance is very dry, it doesn't even work. So I'm using this. This takes a lot longer to dry, and especially over paint. I'll probably have to leave it for a couple of days. But using something that's very heavily pigmented, as is Encore ink pads, you could use paint too if you took like a foam dauber or something like that to pull the paint across. But using that contrasting color, especially if it's heavily pigmented and can kind of color over some of the background, tones it down, obviously, and then you can still see some of the background going on, and especially with Encore, but even some of the brilliance, if you're doing it over paint that is covering like the whole background, you can take a paper towel and wipe away some of the, in fact, I actually can see my fingerprints. I'll go back over that and fix it. But you can wipe away some of the ink if it's in spots that you don't want. And then you can really kind of see the background. So just another idea of what you can do with your throwaway Gelli art printing plate rejects, your Yupo paper cutouts, and a Sizzix BigShot. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.